Are you looking for some of the best death metal yet to come out in 2024? Then stay tuned and look no further, because you've come to the right place. Vile Rites are about to begin. Hello, headbangers. My name is Alan, and I'm here on Heavy Metallurgy today to talk about the new album from Vile Rites. The album is titled Senescence, and it came out in August on Carbonized Records. Apologies to the band for not getting this review done sooner. It was an album that I wanted to play a lot of times. It kind of slowly grew on me, and I've also just been buried with a lot of work. But yeah, Vile Rites are from Santa Rosa, California, and this is their first full-length release. They put out an EP in 2021 that was very impressive. It got a lot of heads turning with a very mature style of death metal. The death metal scene in the past couple of years has gotten extremely crowded, and especially so when it comes to bands trying to emulate the old school death metal sound. So to have a band like this show up almost out of nowhere and start playing something a little more different, a little more technical, that owes a tip of the hat to, say, 90s era death, it was very impressive. And the same is true with their full-length debut just released. So, how does the full-length album measure up to that EP? Well, it follows and kind of picks up where the EP left off very well. Senescence, you get the sense that there's a little bit of a theme to the album, and Senescence is a great title for it because it really conveys this kind of sense of a slow succumbing, gradually drifting into a state of decay. The album is equal parts moody, brooding, but still ferocious when it needs to be. This isn't just laid-back contemplative music for the sake of it. They still know how to roar and how to pick up and blast a little bit, but they do it very tastefully and they pick their spots. They're not just dragging their knuckles around the cave each and every song, hoping that creates some kind of ambience that 24 other bands didn't create with new releases this month as well. No, Vile Rites is being much more thoughtful and selective about how they build these tracks. You have great examples of this throughout the opening track, Only Silence Follows. Yeah, so you can hear right away, this is a band that is excellent at their craft, really knows what they're doing and how they want to do it. One element that stands out right away on this opening track is the guitar soloing. It has an almost neoclassical flair to it at times. It's very sharp, still fits the music extremely well, though. Have a listen. So yeah, the album gets off to a very strong start with this opener, but they just move from strength to strength on the title track and track number 3, Silent Wanderings. When you start listening closely and giving this repeat listens, you really start to appreciate how much intricacy is going on just beneath the surface of the album. The production feels like it's a little bit quiet. It's meant to maybe emphasize and magnify that very somber mood, but there's a lot of stuff lurking just below the surface of this album. You can hear good examples of this, really high-level bass work in parts of the song Transcendent Putrefaction. The middle of the album has a short instrumental track that begins with the sound of rainfall. It's not like a thunderstorm bursting out. It's more the kind of quiet, gentle rain that, again, is meant to put one into that kind of thoughtful and contemplative state. It gives you a respite from the death metal that's been going on and is still about to occur. I haven't mentioned the vocals yet, but they're extremely well done. The singer reminds me a bit of a young Mike Ackerfeld, kind of in the early Opeth days. He's got that sort of deep, throaty voice that has a lot of power when he wants to use it. But like Ackerfeld, he also knows how to back off from that. He doesn't have to be roaring all the time. This music doesn't require that. And he's smart enough to know when to crank it up a bit and also when to dial it back. Right. The album closes with a very ambitious 11-minute number entitled Banished to Solitude. This album is closing now with the band trying out even a few different surprises. There are some portions of this song that almost start to incorporate a bit of a post-rock sound with some very echoey, spacious guitar notes, and it works quite well in the context of this particular song. If there's one flaw, however, to this song, I do feel that it probably goes on a bit too long. The last few minutes, the song really kind of slows down. You feel like they're kind of getting into a much more sort of laid back and relaxed atmosphere. And it sort of kind of drifts across the finish line over the past 2 or 3 minutes. In one way, this might represent the overall concept of senescence. Again, this kind of, slowly settling and drifting, into a state of non-being anymore. But in terms of this particular song, I feel like it probably needed to be wrapped up a little bit faster than it is. It also means the album kind of, drifts to an end as well. And it might have been nice to have something a little stronger for the last couple of minutes of what is a very impressive and solid death metal album. I've got to say, I haven't found a lot of death metal releases this year that have held my attention very well. I think many of us are experiencing a bit of death metal burnout after all the great releases and new bands that have popped up over the last, 5 to 10 years at this point. As I said in the beginning, it's become a very crowded field, and even very talented bands that are trying to do something interesting risk getting lost in the shuffle. And that's the main reason I wanted to make sure that I reviewed Vile Rites' Senescence album. This is a cut above pretty much all the other death metal I've heard this year. If you're just wanting something extremely brutal or something that's, as, sick and gore infested as possible, okay, this is not the death metal album for you. But if you're getting a little bit tired of everybody and their mother starting a band that's meant to sound like classic incantation, but you still want some death metal, you just want it to have a bit more substance and emotion to it, then Vile Rites is an excellent band to check out. Again, their EP was very promising, and they've delivered on that promise with the debut album, Senescence. All right, that is going to do it for this album review. Please check out Vile Rites, show them some love and support. I really don't want this album to get lost in the sea of death metal. And to be clear, I know there's a lot of quality death metal that is being released as well. It's just there's such a volume of it, it's getting hard for bands to make a name for themselves. So support the bands that you really like, help spread the word about them, get them on the map and onto other people's radar so they can check them out and enjoy them too. But that's all for this time. If you've enjoyed the review, check out our other reviews on Heavy Metallurgy. We try to post one review about once a week. We also have live streams on Wednesday nights and Friday nights. We have an excellent live chat. People are very engaged, very respectful, and have a great time discussing heavy metal, new and old, and everything in between. Until next time, everybody, please take care. And as always, keep banging your head.